Been a bit out of the loop when it comes to Smash Ultimate? Don't worry, we got you. Welcome to Smash University. This is the Ultimate Recap. Get on my level forever.
Is given away the wall. Perfection.
Oh, Nair one into the up tilt. Back air going to take a stop. Sub 30 seconds.
The event was stacked with 751 players total, with top players like Onin, Shoutouts, Sonics, Spargo, and MKLeo. This event was shaping up to be very good. Things would proceed normally for the most part, up until very early in the tournament, where both Spargo and MKLeo were knocked into losers by Hyper Kirby and Zwag respectively. Even players like Light, Mystery, and Apollo Kage were knocked down into losers. Canada created an extremely tough environment, and their players were really showing their stuff. But Apollo Kage wouldn't be the one getting knocked into losers by a Canadian. In top 32, we see Apollo Kage face off versus Onin, and they took it 3-1. Consistent with what happened with CEO last month, Apollo Kage just has a hard time overcoming the Steve menace. Sonics, on the other hand, would have a great time. Ripping through top 32 and defeating players like Zwag and Hurt without much trouble, he put on display at just how consistent he really is. Said consistency would land him in top 8 ready to face off against Onin. Meanwhile, Sparko and MKLeo would dance to their losers bracket. Both players used their traditional mains and the Aegis to slowly but surely get the top 8. Notably, MKLeo and Shoutouts faced off against each other, and with a 6-year losing streak, things looked bleak for MKLeo's run. Just like Joker, however, MKLeo resisted fate. MKLeo charged forward in this match and managed to defeat Shoutouts 3-0, notably breaking a 6-year loss streak against the Alomar and adding yet another top 10 player to the list of players he's beaten. After defeating the player Wilds, MKLeo secured himself top 8. On the other side of the bracket, Spargo was on fire, defeating Ouch, Apollo Kake, and even Zamba to get in the losers' top 8. Beast Mode Paul made sure to showcase why he had the title of the world's best hero player, dealing with swag and wrath in order to get himself in the top 8 losers. Moving back to the winner's side of the bracket, Syrup and Cola would also dance through their winner's bracket. Syrup would defeat Peanut and Wrath, while Cola would defeat Shoutouts and Zamba in order to secure top 8 on his side of the bracket as well.
Oh, there it is. And you know what? You called it perfectly.
Moving on to top 8, we had Onin vs Sonics, Syrup vs Cola, Hurt vs MKLeo, and Beast Mode Paul vs Spargo. Starting with Sonics vs Onin, this was an intense set that showcased the talent of both players. Sonics took game 1 in a harsh but convincing way, having Onin on the back foot for most of it, being able to keep them in the air and finish the game with a Nair.
Onslaught dead off the top and annoyed.
Why is he pissed?
I mean, I get it. No, I get it. There were so many times the kill sparks came through. There were so many times where it seemed like the game was signed, sealed, and delivered.
Game 2 would also go in Sonics' favor, keeping Onin on their toes and showcasing some impressive aggression from a character one might expect to camp. But that's just the power of Steve. Even the blue blur can't camp, Steve. Moving on to Game 3, Onin would showcase why they've done so well recently. With patience and not letting Sonics get to them, they slowly carved out their game plan until they eventually caught Sonics attempting to get back on stage with a Nair, and of course, hit Sonics with an Anvil. Game 4 started, and Onin really put on a show. For the first time, Onin had a rather convincing lead, forcing Sonics to once again play aggressively. Despite his best efforts though, Sonics could just not close out Game 4. With the solid game plan Onin had built, Sonics eventually got into a clash with Onin, and he got sent off the top to lose Game 4. Game 5. Both players know what this means. It was the most intense game of the set, with the timer going below a minute and both players being above 140 on their last stock. Sonics nearly got knocked into losers, but with great DI he managed to survive. Sonics got back quick and ran around to prevent any more KOs. Then he saw his chance. On the right platform on Pokemon Stadium, Sonic rushed down, and he got a Nair while Onin was mining. Thanks to that Nair, Sonics won the set 3-2 and moved forward into Winners Finals.
Previous GOML champion, going Winners Finals here. Get on my level forever. And the crowd cheering for Sonic.
Syrup vs Cola would happen after, and Syrup took Game 1 rather convincingly. Cola wouldn't be put down though, taking Game 2 with the classic Nair into up tilt. Then Game 3 happened. Being down 2 stocks, Cole saw his chance and took Syrup's stock with a down air. Unfortunately, he upbeat the wrong way and lost the game. Despite keeping it close in Game 4 and getting a great double-edged dance, Cole attempted to get a hard read. But Syrup would take that chance at life to get center stage and get a minecart in the forward air, closing out the set. As unfortunate as Game 3 was, these things do happen, and Cola is the type of player that is able to recover from them too. Going in the winners finals, Sonics and Syrup would face off. Syrup would take Game 1, using the classic stray hit after cementing a pretty strong lead. Sonics isn't one to take things lying down though. He would go into Game 2 with one plan: run the clock. Sonics would take every hit, every single chance he got to build a lead. No matter how small, he would wait. He would play Steve's game and let time count down. Eventually, the clock would hit 0, and with Syrup at 104% to Sonic's 19%, Sonics would take Game 2 and refocus for Game 3. Always being one to pull out surprises, the Blue, Blur, and Sonics would change up their game plan. While he was still trying to maintain his lead, the focus was now on KOing Steve. With some smooth gameplay, Sonics would build up Syrup's percent again, and after getting stuck in a minecart, Sonic would charge forward, only to bait Syrup's dash attack. Then, at 179%, a forward tilt was all that was needed to KO Syrup. Finally, in Game 4, Sonics would use all that aggression to his advantage, taking Syrup's first stock with only 38% on his. While Syrup would get that stock trade eventually, it was a bit too late, as by then Sonic's momentum has built up. Then with Syrup at ledge, Sonics used the forward smash, and using the crafting table, he extended the hitbox just enough to catch Syrup's get-up option. It wasn't long until Sonics sealed the game. Draining Syrup's resources, getting some jabs, and a great back air, Sonics won the set, with Game 4 being a 2-stock in his favor, confirming him for winner's side of Grand Finals.
To get himself back into the game, but instead, it's Sonic's gracing winner's side Grand.
MKLeo and Hurt would face off, with both trading games as often as their trading stocks. The real showcase of each player's talent. Hurt took Game 1 with an edge guard from Snake's rocket. Leo shot back, getting a grab bait unshielded, extremely high percent, avoiding it with a forward air, barely maintaining Arsene, just to get the KO on Hurt and take Game 2. Hurt took it back to PS2, playing smooth and patiently. Hurt took their time until they saw their chance to get a normal get-up from MKLeo. Sealing his fate, he grabbed MKLeo and forward through. Town and City was up next, and once again things were extremely close. MKLeo relied on reads, 50-50s, in this game to seal out Hurt's stocks. Meanwhile, Hurt's consistency in reads were always keeping MKLeo on his toes. Eventually, MKLeo would see Hurt going to reset in the middle platform and take his chance. Hitting Hurt with the up air after losing Arsene and getting an up smash, he would get Game 4. Finally, the last game would once again be so tense, as both players danced around each other's options. Eventually, MKLeo would get the last Arsene of the set, betting it all on this one. After both players used up every option they got, it was a simple roll that MKLeo saw, which landed him a forward air and up smash, adding yet another top 10 player to the list of players MKLeo was taking.
Another chance is given away. The roll is caught by MKLeo, and the conversion is good 10 times out of 10.
Unbelievable. The crowd is in pandemonium.
With an amazing pop-off, MKLeo moved forward in the bracket. Spargo would be facing off against Beast Mode Paul in an intense Game 1, which would go to last stock, last hit. Beast Mode Paul, using every buff in his arsenal to live up to 200% on his last stock, would eventually be foiled by a Pyro down throw, finally getting the KO for this long game. Game 2 would be far smoother for Spargo. Beast Mode Paul would live a lot and for a while, but with some smooth gameplay coming out of Spargo's Mithra, Spargo would eventually land a bear and KO Beast Mode Paul off the top. Game 3 would be the opposite of the set. Spargo would live long until 161 on the second stock, and would just combo Beast Mode Paul. In a 2-stock that was convincingly in Spargo's favor, a Dare stage spike would seal the set for Beast Mode Paul as he was knocked out of the tournament and Spargo would move forward. Spargo would be facing Onin next in losers quarterfinals. Despite any dominating lead in the first part of Game 1, Onin would slowly start bringing it back as they picked their battles carefully. It wouldn't be enough, however, as Spargo would continue to dance around them, eventually closing out that Game 1 with a limit blade beam. Game 2 would look even worse for Onin, and Spargo would continue to dance. Moving around them, being up 2 stocks, high percent, it seemed like Onin's fate was sealed. By the time Onin took Spargo's first stock, it was too late. The percentage was too high, and Spargo sealed out Game 2 with a beautiful bear. Game 3 would be where Onin's adaptation showed. Keeping things close, Onin played masterfully to overcome Spargo the Steve Slayer. With a close percent, each player traded stocks. Onin would eventually find an opportunity and get Spargo with the minecart, KOing him and winning Game 3. Game 4 would be the final game of the set, and despite some of the excellent play coming out of Onan and keeping it close, Spargo just held on.
Deep off stage, Elytra right to the ledge.
Wow.
Keeps you safe, and can Cloud get back from this?
Wow.
And
Crazy.
Managing to get a limit cross slash, Onan barely was saved by a block, but was instantly grabbed by Spargo. Using their minecart, they tried to get back to stage, but a bear would easily cleave Onan and send him back to the blast zone.
Not dead for it. No minecart to get back. This will be Elytra. Just the Nair will take it. Spargo.
MK Leo and Cola would face off against each other on the loser side, showcasing their talent and going through with some incredible Game 1 play. Leo would decide to go with Aegis for this game as he traded stocks with Cola. In a blink of an eye, Cola would take a stock, then lose his own almost immediately. Each player was set on winning the first game, and after a roll on stage from recovering Leo, Cola would react and get a jab into DED to seal out the game. Game 2 was in Leo's favor. It cannot be understated how Leo's Mithra has elements of his Joker, and how this Pyra gameplay helps make up from the downsides of the character. Finally, after getting his second stock taken by Cola, the percentage was built up on Leo in order to get the win. The down tilt on Cola's jump off edge, all it took was an up air to close out the stock. Game 3 would be a back and forth, trading stocks all around. Neither of the player had a clear advantage until the last stock, but we'd get a quick switch to catch the Nair from Cola's Roy. Leo's Pyra managed to score a down tilt in the up air to take Game 3. Game 4 was an amazing start for Cola. Exploiting the issues of kill power that Aegis has, Cola started running away with the game, truly showcasing the kind of talented player Cola is. Still, Leo wasn't out of it just yet. Despite the weaknesses of Aegis being exploited, he still had the strengths of the character as well. Almost being able to mount and come back, Leo would soon take Cola's first and second stocks while Cola slowly built up percent on him. Cola caught a drop shield from Leo and took Game 4, taking this to Game 5. And despite Cola's best effort, Leo was just playing too smooth. Taking stocks with only 71% on Aegis, Cola would soon respond, but not after getting 65% put on his Roy. After that, Leo just had too much control. Leo would continue to build percents on Cola's Roy until he caught the Cola jump in with the up air and immediately down tilt up air once again. Leo kept going, clearly getting damage off Mithra until he eventually had his chance while Cola was off stage. Switching to Pyra, Cola countered, expecting attack right away, only for Leo to react, wait for the counter, and then get a beautiful kill with a forward smash.
And that's not how he wanted it to end, but it's certainly a way to end it. The counter, Cola tries it all on a Hail Mary and...
Loser semis would be Spargo versus MK Leo. Having lost their previous set, Spargo was not looking to be the player to favor here. Until Game 1 started. Spargo played super clean, using limit well and making sure to waste time Leo had with Arsene. It was a clean game, and Spargo sealed it with an up smash, cutting off Arsene. Game 2 would look a lot closer at first, with both players trading stocks and things being rather even. On Spargo's last stock, things would change, however. With Spargo getting a 0 to death on Leo, not even a down B to get Arsene would help here. When Spargo got limit, all it took was punishing a risky recovery by Leo to seal Game 2. Game 3 was close as well, but slightly in Spargo's favor as Leo had to do a lot of work to take the stocks from Spargo. Despite being at a disadvantage, Leo slowly started to take things back. Yet Leo couldn't do it. As soon as Spargo realized the ending of Game 1 was just really good, and just went for an up smash after Leo attempted to shield poke him, winning him the set. Losers finals would be Syrup versus Spargo. And once again, Spargo continued his Steve slaying. Game 1 was just extremely convincing. It was convincing to the point Syrup switched to Ness. The world's best Ness player was back, and for what it's worth, it was the correct choice. Game 2 would be a 2-stock lead for Syrup for the majority of the game until Spargo started clawing it back. Syrup's play was outstanding, but Spargo just put him in bad positions. Cemented with Spargo having limit, threatening the ledge with limit, it forced Syrup to recover in a very awkward way, and due to that, he got the angle wrong, and unfortunately, which meant Spargo took Game 1, sealing it in his favor. Game 3 would go the same as Game 2 at the start. Syrup had a huge lead, and Spargo had begun to claw back that lead. Taking 2 stocks to even things up, Spargo was a bit behind, but not out of the game just yet.
No matter who you are, back air does come for us all one day when we're playing against Cloud.
Syrup, however, had an extremely different plan. With some well-placed stray hits and good calls, Syrup got behind Spargo and sealed out Game 3 with back throw.
No finisher though.
But that will be it.
Game 4 started and it seemed like it was a reverse of Game 2 and 3, with Spargo getting the lead very early on and maintaining it, while Syrup had to claw back at Spargo's lead, trying to stay in the game for as long as possible and force a Game 5. While Syrup managed to level out the stock lead, the percent lead wasn't in his favor. With some outstanding positioning from Spargo, Syrup was forced off stage and eventually got forward air spiked to lose Game 4.
Not done that just yet.
Yes, he is.
I might have just jinxed it. Never mind. Get that boy out of here, says Spargo.
Grand Finals. Sonic's on the winner's side, Spargo's on the loser's side. Spargo stuck with his guns with the blue blur, meanwhile Spargo went to the young lion to try and clean out Grand Finals. Game 1 would be close for both players. Sonic's defensive play was on point as he got damage on Spargo's Roy, but the Roy hit back hard. Even with 90 seconds left on the clock, Spargo wasn't intent on letting this game go the time. Even with his percent going up, his hits were impactful. Getting Sonic's percent Spargo needed him at, and then a desperate homing attack from Sonic's to get back on stage was all Spargo needed to take Game 1. Game 2 would be a 2-stock in Spargo's favor. Putting Sonic's behind, Spargo had control of this game rather handedly. After being hit by a spin dash, Spargo would land and catch Sonic's forward tilt with a dash attack, finishing off Sonic's and winning Game 2. Game 3 showcased how Sonic's adjusted. Timeouts were a thing of the past. Instead, Sonic's would just settle for killing Spargo. This new aggression would keep things close at first until a well-placed snare from Sonic's would make Spargo drift back just a bit to miss the ledge. From there, Sonic's was running forward. Even being put on his last stock would not stop the blue blur. It was too much for Spargo to handle, and with that, Sonic's took Game 3. But Spargo learns. Game 4 was rough for Sonic's. By the time he took Spargo's first stock, he was down to his last stock. Despite this mountain of a player he would have to overcome, Sonic's did not give up, giving his all to eventually even up the stocks. Spargo had too much momentum though, and by the time Spargo was on his last stock, Sonic's was at 83% and then instantly at 100. A few clashes later, Sonic's was on ledge, tried to get off, and was just sent flying with a forward air to seal the first set of Grand Finals. And thus began the true Grand Finals.
Just like that, 3-1. Let's hear it for a Grand Finals reset.
We just knew the set was coming, man.
Game 1 was a massacre. Spargo 3-stocked Sonic's, and even with his best efforts, Spargo was just too far ahead of the game plan Sonic's wanted for Game 1. Game 2 showcased Sonic's changing how he was playing. While still a defensive style, it was less focused on the timer and more focused on opening up Spargo. Yet again, it was just too much for Spargo. Sonic's would take Game 2 with a spring in the back air, and after Game 2, all pretenses of a timeout were gone. Sonic's was focused on winning this the old-fashioned way. 50 seconds to Game 3, Spargo was hit by a homing attack in the falling forward air to take his first stock. Both players would trade hits and stocks left and right. It was a back-and-forth game that eventually ended with Sonic's getting Spargo to over 200% and managed to seal out the game with 3 minutes left on the clock. Now down 2-1, Spargo had an uphill battle, but he's faced worse odds before. Game 4 would consist of some nice patient play from Spargo until it paid off in the long run, eventually wearing Sonic's down to get a down air into forward smash, finishing off the game with a 2-stock and moving on to Game 5. The final game of Get On My Level Forever had Spargo start off strong, landing a 0 to death after a bit of neutral.
Second one, Game 5, you don't get there unless it is neck and neck. Sure. Spargo starts off strong though, and Sonic's can't do anything.
And as if using the win, Spargo carried that momentum. Sonic's was getting good damage here and there, but it was rapidly getting out of hand. Even when Sonic's got momentum back in his favor, it was too brief to take advantage of. By the time Spargo's first stock was taken, 61% was already put on Sonic's tournament life. In an attempt to get more damage on Spargo's second stock, Sonic tried to use a spin dash, but it whiffed. Then, he tried to follow up with a homing attack, which also whiffed. With a lag on that, Spargo saw his chance and Roy raised his sword high, KOing Sonic's with an up smash. With that, Get On My Level Forever ended, and Spargo was crowned the champion, silencing every single person who dared to doubt Spargo's skill.
Waste that trophy because Spargo, you have earned it.
This guy's too good, man. This guy is too damn good. I'll keep calling him, man, Mr. Ledge Trapper. Anytime he had any opponent on the ledge, it was curtains.
It just felt impossible for anybody to get past ledge, for anybody to hoist that trophy, save for him. A deep breath a sigh of relief, and the customary photo opportunity. He's got it all.
For sure, man.